Here in Canada and around the world, governments are urging their citizens to stay home. But there is one country that's taking a very different approach to COVID-19. Restaurants, schools, and playgrounds remain open in Sweden. That strategy is controversial, and as Eric Sorensen explains, it's now being tested.
Is there another way? While countries the world over have shut down, Sweden has kept its schools open and its businesses. People are keeping a distance, but they are out. Look at the street, says this couple. People are out and about and happy. Swedes have been told to look out for the elderly, stay at home if you're sick, and work at home if you can. Sweden's chief epidemiologist.
We are going out with that message very, very clearly, and it has also had quite an impact if you look at the streets in Stockholm.
But Sweden has not ordered a lockdown. This hairdresser was as busy as ever. I hope, she says, they don't do what they've done in Denmark. Denmark is linked by bridge to Sweden. It was among the first European countries to close its borders and its schools.
A bit like a nightmare.
Business for this Danish hairdresser and throughout Copenhagen vanished, though he supports the strong measures.
We trust the government, and we believe in that, and we think actually they're doing a good job.
Who is doing a good job? That's the question all countries are asking. For Sweden and Denmark, the number of COVID-19 deaths was fairly equivalent at first, but then Sweden saw a surge in April. Here in Canada, the pandemic came a little bit later, but again, the numbers were about the same in the beginning, but then that unsettling increase in Sweden far outpaced the number of deaths in this country. Canada is more like the Danish model. People went home, and epidemiologists here insist half measures won't work.
The only way that we're going to continue to slow down the spread of the virus is all of us kind of have to put it together, and all of us have to do our part.
There is now nervousness in Sweden.
COVID-19.
The king, in a rare address, suggested Swedes stay home this Easter, and hundreds of academics signed a letter to government calling for tougher measures.
It's extreme measurements that need to be taken before you can get control over this virus.
But Sweden is not changing course yet.
Of course we're suffering. Everybody in the world is suffering right now, but it's working, and the Swedish healthcare is delivering results just as good as they ever done.
And now Denmark is looking to ease up and reopen its schools right after Easter.
Det bliver måske I virkeligheden lidt.
It's a bit like walking a tightrope, says the Danish Prime Minister, one cautious step at a time.
Kan vi falde?
As countries like Canada look ahead, there may be simple changes or hard lessons to learn from Scandinavia. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.
Many families within Canada will be spending this holiday weekend apart, but there is an even greater distance for those who are overseas. The government says 367,000 Canadians are out of the country right now. Global Affairs reports it fielded more than 1,400 phone calls and over 1,500 emails on Wednesday alone from Canadians wanting to return. But as Mike Drolet reports, some believe staying put is the safest choice.
Alexis Rancière didn't debate long about returning to Canada once COVID-19 started to spread. She lives happily with her boyfriend in England, and as an occupational therapist at a large hospital, she's on the front lines every day.
I really do miss my family, which was hard for me to make the decision, but in the long run, it'd be the better choice for me to just stay and help where I can.
There are over 350,000 Canadians living or traveling abroad right now. While the lure of family is strong, most are staying where they're at. Kevin Caners has built a life in Germany, a country considered ahead of the curve in dealing with the pandemic. Far better, he believes, than Canada.
I did still feel it was safer and more comfortable to stay here than going back home to Canada.
That sentiment was echoed again and again with the Canadians we spoke with. Leora Wolfman points to her friends in Toronto who are still going to parties.
So it's just not looking effective or safe.
In Austria, where she's living on a skilled immigrant visa, small businesses and restaurants are preparing to reopen after 2 very strict months.
It's hard not being able to see my friends. I haven't seen my boyfriend in almost a month, actually.
Justine Beaulieu was on a life-changing trip through the Pacific Rim when Canada was getting familiar with the terms isolation and social distancing. Complicating matters for her in Cambodia is the political situation. Martial law could be declared any day, which she hopes won't affect her since she's found work on a remote island.
There's a lot of fear of foreigners now. Bars and restaurants won't let foreigners in. It's mandatory for you to wear a mask in public in the big cities.
For now, she'll watch the Cambodian situation unfold and stay in paradise while waiting for COVID-19 to clear up back home.
And it's crazy the thought of being stranded out here, out anywhere for up to a year.
Considering the isolation alternative in Canada, she's not in a bad place. Mike Drolet, Global News, Toronto.
As we keep you informed about COVID-19, Donna Friesen will be hosting a special program on Sunday evenings. It's called Coronavirus, The New Reality, and it starts this Sunday at 7 p.m.